everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be answering all the questions you guys asked me about my advice for middle school and high schoolers. So I did want to say that most of these are going to be answered in general and can go for 6th graders, 7th graders, 9th graders, literally any grade. Because I have such a wide age range between you guys, I wanted to make sure that I could answer everyone's questions in the best way possible. So with that being said, let's get straight into the video. So the first question is tips for homeschoolers on how to stay focused, and I'm going to be answering this in general because I think it could be helpful for everyone. So me personally, I do procrastinate a lot. It's one of my biggest problems. I do get lazy sometimes, but as every teenager does. But I do know that for a lot of kids, planners can help, whether that is going on your Google Calendar on your computer and putting it in there, or having a physical planner is really helpful to a lot of people. Me personally, I like to use like little post-it notes or a notebook and just write down the stuff that I have to get done for that day, because I find that if I write like a week's worth of work, it really overwhelms me. So every day I just write a little list of things that I need to get done. And also I would say try to stick to a schedule as much as possible, especially for homeschoolers or people that do online school. For me, it's really important to stick to a schedule like a regular high schooler or middle schooler would do. So try to wake up at a set time, and I'm saying this knowing that I mess up, but try to wake up at a set time, do each class at a set time so that you can stay as focused as possible. The next question is, somebody wanted to know how to deal with body image and comparing yourself once you go into high school. So whether it's high school or middle school, going into a new school or a new grade, there's going to be new girls or new boys, and you're obviously going to compare yourself to them because that's just what we do. So instead of looking at somebody and saying, oh my goodness, her eyes are so beautiful, I wish God made my eyes like that, I want you to look at her eyes or his eyes or whatever and say, her eyes are so beautiful, but mine are also so beautiful. I know it's really hard to not compare ourselves because it is human nature, but I think sometimes you just have to step back and realize that God made everybody uniquely themselves, so there's really no point in comparing because you can't change who you are. God sat there and knit you together in your mother's womb. He designed everything on your body exactly the way it's supposed to be, so don't compare yourself because you're already beautiful just the way you are. And if you guys ever need a little boost of confidence, you can always message me on Pinterest, which will be in my description. I'm going to start doing that because a lot of people like to message me there, or you could just comment down below if you just need somebody to talk to. The next question is how to deal with the hard times. I think the most important thing you could do is take a mental health day. There is no way that, I think we go to school like 200 days or something out of the year, maybe 160 or something like that. That is a lot of days out of the year to not have any breaks. Obviously we have winter break and Thanksgiving break, but usually teachers are still piling on stuff that they want you to do during then. So sometimes it's good to just take a mental health day, maybe go out shopping with your mom, or just have a slow day at home. I think it's so important to just take a step back and have a day where you can just focus on yourself and your own mental health. For me, public school was super draining and I never took breaks, just the ones that the schools gave us, and I really regret that because my mental health was on a steady decline because I just wasn't taking care of myself. So I just wanted to remind you guys that it's okay to take breaks and you don't have to push yourself so hard all the time. I also wanted to answer something in regard to grades, and I just wanted to remind you that your grades do not define you. Whether you get a 90 on a test or a 70 on a test, that doesn't affect how you should look at yourself. We have hard days, we all understand things differently. I might understand one subject in math and then the next subject I really don't understand, and that's okay. We are not all going to understand everything all the time. I think the important thing is to make sure you're studying if you're failing, ask your teachers for help, which I never did, or ask your parents for help because you need somebody there to guide you because you can't do everything on your own. The next question I got so often was how to make friends. So I don't know if I'm the best person to answer this question because I'm very introverted, and I know a lot of you can't tell it from my videos, but sometimes I can make friends really easily and sometimes I find it hard to make friends. But I think the most important thing is just putting yourself out there. I remember the first day of 6th grade, I was going into a new school and I had one friend and she was my neighbor and she had her separate group of friends, so I realized that if I was going to make it through middle school, I was going to need to make some friends. So my first class of the day, I walked in there, I walked straight up to this girl and I said, hi, my name's Madison, what's your name? Would you like to be friends? Now, as I am right now, I don't think I'd be able to do that, but I think it's so important to just put yourself out there. And I've talked about this before, just say, hey, my name is blank, and I would really love if we could be friends. I also quickly wanted to hop in here and remind you guys that you should value quality of friendships over quantity. It is so much more rewarding to have 2 good real friends than to have 40 fake friends. Because at the end of the day, you're going to want to have solid friends who are there for you all the time. The next question is what to do if you get bullied. The first thing you need to do is tell somebody at school, whether that is a teacher, a principal, a counselor. You need to tell somebody so that the situation can be dealt with, because you are most likely not the only person that this person is bullying, so you want to make sure that you can get the situation cleared up. Next, I would also tell a parent or a cousin or something like that so you can have somebody to talk to at home if you're feeling down. And the next question they asked was kind of interesting, and it's who is most likely to be a bully? I thought this was an interesting question because there's not like a characteristic of who's most likely to be a bully, but the only thing I would say is bullies are super insecure people. If somebody comes up to you and says, "Oh my goodness, you have such a big forehead," they are most likely super insecure about their forehead, or if they say something about your nose or your lips, because that's just how it works. They're taking out their insecurities onto you. So with that being said, I don't want to say take it easy on the bullies, but also take a step back and realize that they are struggling with the same insecurities that everyone else is. I think one of the biggest pieces of advice I could give besides telling someone is going up to the bully or maybe writing them a note and leaving it on their desk and saying, "Hey, I hope you're okay, and I just wanted to remind you that God loves you." Or if you're not religious, you can write, "Hey, are you okay? I just wanted to remind you that you are loved." Next question I got is how to deal with periods in school. So I'm just gonna go over this super quickly. I don't know what all this stuff is flying in the air, but if you can see that, I'm so sorry. I've talked about emergency kits so often, so I'm going to, I think the iCard's over here. I'm going to link a video where I showed you all the things to put in there and showed you how to do it and everything, but I'm just going to list some things quickly. The first thing you're going to need is a little bag to put it in, especially because I know a lot of schools are doing clear backpacks this year. So I would just pick like a cute, colorful little toiletry bag just so you don't feel so uncomfortable about it. And then next you're going to pack a pad or tampon, whatever you use. If you are just waiting for your period, I would pack a pad and a panty liner, but those are just what I would recommend. Next, you're going to need some sort of pain medication just in case you get cramps, like Midol, ibuprofen, or anything like that. Then lastly, I would recommend a change of underwear just in case if an accident happens. Those are the only things I can think of right now because at school you're limited to what you can have. The next question is of course about boys and crushes. So I'm gonna say what I always have to say about it. You don't have to follow my advice. This is just my personal advice that I'm giving to you guys. Keep in mind that I've never had a boyfriend, I've never dated, so this is just coming from someone who's a 16-year-old girl. So I did want to give a little bit of backstory that in 6th grade I dated a lot, but by that I just mean, you know, we hugged at school. So I would say I was definitely too young to be dating. I think it's okay to have crushes in elementary school or middle school, but there is no point in dating because you're just so young. I know a lot of people, including myself, focused way too much on dating in middle school that they really lost themselves and stopped focusing on school. But when you get into high school, I understand you're getting older, you're starting to be able to drive and stuff, and this is where it comes in that you really just need to ask your parents. I would say give yourself a year or two where you just focus on yourself and get used to high school, and then you can do as you want. But of course, as I said, ask your parents and see what they're comfortable with because you don't want to be doing anything behind their back. I personally think that you should wait to date until you feel God has placed this person in your life, but I know not everybody thinks the same as me, so just kind of remember to step back and think before you jump into something so quickly. The next question was about fake friends and drama. Middle school was a very interesting time for me, and I went through the boys phase, the fake friends phase, the drama phase, and it was all so pointless. Something I wish I could tell my middle school self was if you have a fake friend, drop them. You are 12, 13 years old. There is no point in having someone in your life that's just dragging you down because you're already going through so much with periods and hormones and all this that's just naturally dragging you down. You don't need to surround yourself around people that are just sucking the life and energy out of you. Now with drama, this is a really tricky thing because you can be the kindest person and have the kindest friends and surround yourself around great people and still be involved in drama. But if you ever get involved in drama, I would just tell them, hey, I'm not doing this. I don't have time for this. I'm just a kid. I'm just trying to live life. If you have a problem with me, we can talk separately or go on a phone call later and talk about this, but we're not going to make a big ordeal out of it. I think even at 12, 13, 10, 11 years old, you need to learn how to set boundaries for yourself, because if you don't, you are going to show people that they can just walk all over you. I struggled with that for a really long time, to the point where I had so many friends that were fake, I was in so much drama, and I didn't want any of it. I just didn't know how to get out of it because I simply couldn't say no. So remember to stick up for yourself, and remember to set boundaries, and remember you can say no. The next question is how to make a good first impression. Now, I don't really know if you meant with like friends or teachers, but I think this kind of goes with all people. Number one, just be yourself. Don't try to put on a front or be somebody that you're not. Be your happy, funny, kind self, and people that love that kind of energy are just naturally going to be attracted to you. If you want to have friends that are like you, that are funny, kind, happy, you know, they laugh all the time, then you are going to have to show them that that's how you are. But if you are pretending to be somebody that you're not, you're pretending to be mean, or you're pretending to be snotty, then those are the kinds of people that you are going to attract. So just remember to be kind and be yourself. The next question is 6th grade harder than elementary school? So I think this can go both ways, the transition from elementary school to middle school and middle school to high school, and yes, they're all hard. But within probably a month, you are going to get used to it. You are going to have friends, you're going to like your teachers. But I will say the one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the workload is so much harder. Especially from elementary school to 6th grade, I didn't realize that there was going to be such a big transition with the workload. I didn't realize I was going to have so much more homework. But I will say, now that I am in an online high school, I don't do homework. I just do all my classwork during the day, so I don't have to do any after school is over. But that transition from elementary school to 6th grade was so hard, just because I had gotten used to just doing barely any work, and then you go into middle school and you were just bombarded with essays and assignments. But I just wanted to remind you that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to take a step back and just be like, wow, this is a lot. But then you just need to prioritize what you need to get done. And I think that's the best advice I can give. I kind of went all over the place with that question, but I think it's a hard question because it's obviously a lot more different and it's a lot harder, but that's just kind of how it is. Just make sure you are prioritizing your time and make sure you are trying to get your work done when you can. The next question is, how do you make time for God? So again, I'm answering this from a online schooler's point of view. So I don't have to do school 8 hours a day. I usually do school for about 3 to 4 hours a day, so it's a lot easier for me. But I would say right after you get home, you know, maybe relax for 30 minutes, watch some TV, go on TikTok or whatever you guys are doing, and then get your homework done. And after your homework is done, take that time, maybe it's 30 minutes, maybe it's 15 minutes, and just devote your time to God. I know some people like to go on walks and just talk to God. I know people like to listen to worship music and read their Bibles, or some people just like to sit there and read their Bibles and talk to God. I think that's up to you, but I would just make sure you have around 15 to 30 minutes you can take out of your evening to just spend that time with God. I think a lot of the times, even myself, I forget how much time I spend scrolling on YouTube. I could spend hours scrolling on YouTube, and sometimes I just get off my phone and realize, wow, I've been scrolling for so long and I could have spent that 2 hours hanging out with God. So I think what's important is just replacing a little bit of your screen time with time for God. And the last question is how to deal with mean teachers. So I haven't really dealt with any mean teachers except for one that I had in middle school, and I would say the number one thing you can do is on the first week of school, go into the counselor's office and say, look, I need to switch out of this class. Most of the time they're going to have multiple different teachers that do each subject, so you could just tell them that you need a different teacher because this is just not working for you. But I know that at every school that's not an option, so just make sure it's not getting to you, and just remember that it's probably just 45 minutes out of your day and it's going to be okay. Unfortunately, there is sometimes nothing we can do to fix our circumstances, so we just have to find a way to get through it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I wish you guys all the best of luck at your new schools or your new grade or whatever it might be. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below any ideas you have for future videos. I love you guys so much.